Hi everyone, thank you for tuning back in with us. And in today's video, I'm going to be replacing an IC chip on an iPhone 5C. This is the IC chip in question, and let's go ahead and get this done. So one thing I'm going to do is add a little flux to the component. It's going to help the solder stick together and not stick to anything other than what this should be sticking to. And mind you, I am very generous with my flux. Temperature I'm going to be using is 350 Celsius with 75% airflow. I'm going to be using this heat shield today to cover up the other side of the board. As you can see, it is covered. So let's get to it. One thing I like to do is start up from very high and work my way closer. Little circular motions. Want to make sure I'm pointing away from the board, distributing heat evenly across the IC. What's very important is that I'm not going to yank this IC up, I'm going to just lift it up. I don't want to rip any pads in the process, and I don't want to knock any components off either. So at 350 degrees, it's going to take me a little longer, but I want to work safe with the board. As you can see, I'm always moving. You don't want to stay in one position. Just for funsies. There you go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to clean off the extra solder on this IC chip. Mind you, you will only be doing this if you are reusing the IC chip. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you are going to be grabbing a brand new IC chip. Let's add a little flux. Grab your hot iron. And just back and forth it. Any of the extra solder that you have on your iron, as you can see, we'll clean it right off. And just hit every pin like this about 2-3 times. Make sure they're all even, no big blobs. Don't forget about those corner ones. Then you grab your alcohol. Well, brush is what I'm using. Just give it a good clean. Make sure to take off any extra flux you have on there. And you go ahead and put that aside for right now. And let's go back to the board. And one thing we're going to do on the board is we're going to give the board a good clean. We're going to actually be cleaning this up the same way we cleaned up the IC. Add your flux. Without flux, nothing. I'll just give you an example. This is the board without flux. You can see it's not the prettiest. But let's just show you what happens when you add a little bit of flux. Show you how everything just flows together. Now that we have our board set and ready to go, we're going to add a little bit of flux to the board. We're going to take our IC, but very important, before we put it on, you want to make sure that it's angled the right way. And one thing I remember is that this dot was at this top right corner, and so we're going to put this top back at the top right corner. So here you just want to kind of set it right over in the general vicinity, and we're going to let the hot air do the work. And just like earlier, we're going to start from afar, and we're going to work our way close. You can even give it a little bump, and you will see it just go kind of float right back to the place it was. And this is how you can essentially tell that it's ready to go. Just give it a little tap, watch it float. And there you have it. Tap on the side. As you see, this IC chip is now set and ready to go. And one very important thing we're going to do is give it a good clean. We want to make sure we have no flux left on the board. Keep in mind, all we're using is 99% alcohol on the board.